Hey, 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 good people. Hello, hello, hello. Y'all, I'm here. I told y'all I'm going to be here every Monday. Ideally, things don't always work out. But ideally, I'm going to be here every Monday at 12:30. But today, I wind up being staying over a little bit at the gym. And then I was like, okay, I got time to make it home. And then when I was on my way home, ministry called. So then I had to minister, actually have a conversation with one of my dear friends. And we just talked and prayed and praised the Lord. And she prayed for me and I prayed for her. Next thing you know, time was spent. And then I had to go pick up some things from the store. So let me make sure I am live and you guys can see me. I'm a little early, so we still will have our 3-minute grace period. So instead of 12:30, I'm here today at 2:30. So if you're watching the replay, please put in #replay, so I know that you're watching the replay. I know that the majority of my audience normally watches the replay because I try to come on around 12:30 when you guys are at lunch, and then that way you can actually see what is going on. But we're still going to do the grace period, so just know we have like a minute and a half before I actually get started. And it's been a good week here in Brandon, Florida. Hope you guys are having a good time wherever you are, whatever country you're in, whatever state you're in. If you are here, hey Elder Kim, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. Probably going to use you as an example today. So not sure if I should say your name or not. You tell me if I can use your name. At least I asked, Apostle Greg get up there and just be talking about you. And you like, why is he talking about me? So I think I want to use you as an example today. So let me know. Say, yeah, you can use my name. Say, no, the names have been changed to protect the innocent, but the story is true. So you tell me how you want to move forward. I'm going to move this a little closer to me so you guys can see me. Hey, 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 thank you for joining. I appreciate you guys for tuning in today to Monday Marketplace Mantle as we come on. So I come on here every Monday to help you that are in the marketplace to be able to carry your mantle with excellence. I come on here for 3 reasons: to inspire, impact, and influence you. So as you're moving forward, you're inspiring, impacting, and influencing others, right? So I come on to do that for you. And then my prayer and my hope is that you would in turn turn around and do the same thing for others. You want to inspire, impact, and influence them as they move on. All right, there we go. Our 3-minute grace period is over. Welcome, welcome, welcome. For you all that don't know, I am Teresa S. McCurry. I don't even use the S no more. So I'm Teresa McCurry because down here in Florida, you got to use your real government name. So my middle name, the S is for Super T, but down here I have to use L, which is my real middle name, Lee. So anyway, I am Teresa McCurry, the CIO, Chief Inspirational Officer of Super T Inspires, and I'm also the co-founder of McCurry Ministries International, where my husband and I help people in ministry, marriage, and marketplace. So if you need some consulting in any of those areas, that's what we're here for. But I always want to come in and give because I'm a giver. So I want to come on every Monday for the next year. So today is week 21, I think, because I wind up repeating some weeks. So it looks like it's week 21. So today is week 21. And in week 21, the topic, we're still in August, and the theme for August is building systems that support the vision. Hey, my chunky, building systems that support the vision. Hey, baby girl from Africa. I seen your picture come up. It's not showing me who's coming up, but when you sent the heart, I seen your Rachel. I seen your picture come up. Hey, how's it going? Hope ministry is going well. So today the topic is building systems that support the vision. So that's the topic for the month of August. So we got one more Monday that will be on this topic. topic. So I'll probably do a part 2 because this topic is so juicy that I want to give you a part 2 to it. So in building systems that support the vision, today we're talking about scaling through systems. So a lot of times people say they want to scale, but the question is, are you ready to scale? Because just because you want to scale don't mean that you should scale. You want to make sure you shore up all your systems and you shore up how you do business, how you do the ministry, how you run the nonprofit before you begin to scale. So today that's what we're talking about. So the focus is on moving from doing everything yourself as a solopreneur, as the founder, as the, hey, Apostle Montero, thank you for tuning in. So you don't want to be doing everything yourself. You want to make sure you have systems in place that you can delegate those things. Well, the topic for today is moving from doing everything yourself to building the people, building the process, building the infrastructure necessary for sustained growth. Because it's not just the customers coming in, you have to build the people that will be servicing those clients so they can be ready for sustained growth. You have to build the processes. You know, we already talked about your SOPs. You have to build your processes so they can be ready for the sustained growth. You have to build the infrastructure of the ministry, of the business, of the nonprofit so it can be ready to sustain the growth. So if you're not ready and you step out there prematurely and start to build, that can crumble. And we don't want it to crumble. We want to make sure once we get to the point where we're ready to scale, because just you can do the startup, and first there's the discovery. So once you do the discovery, then you do the startup, and then once you do the startup, then you get to the point called break even, and then once you get to the part where you're break even, then you consider yourself sustainable. You can sustain the business, and then after you sustain, then you can scale, because it's necessary for you to go through all of those processes before you begin to scale. Because if you scale prematurely, it's just gonna it ain't gonna be good. It just ain't gonna be good. So let me give y'all some tips on that. So the first thing I want to talk about today is systems allow delegation and growth. So if you do have systems, what does systems do? Systems allow you to delegate, because if I'm going to bring somebody in and pass over something to them, then they need to have the system so they can do what it is that I've done. And then they can always come in and tweak it and bring it their personality and their flavor to what it is that I'm doing. And then they can help to scale it. So the desire is to scale, but you want to be ready to scale before you scale. So systems allow delegation and growth. So my first talking point as it relates to that is you cannot scale what only you know how to do. Right? You can't scale it. If I'm the only person who know how to do this, I can't scale it. So I have to be able to pull somebody alongside of me to help them to know how to scale, to help them to know, first of all, exactly what it is that I do, or just look at little compartments of what you do and then delegate that out. Delegation is not simply giving someone a task, it's transferring responsibility and clear expectations. So what is delegation? Delegation is transferring the responsibility. So I no longer am responsible for it. Now it is your responsibility. You are responsible for this task. And clear expectations. So when you do the task, this is the expectation. So this is the end results that we're looking for. So when you're delegating, you want to be able to not just give somebody a task. You want to transfer the responsibility. It is their responsibility to do this. You know, in the beginning, when you're turning things over, sometimes it's in what we call a transition period. And in that transition period, you should walk alongside that person. Like in ministry, certain pieces of the ministry we transitioned in 6 months. Certain pieces we transitioned in 1 year. Certain pieces we transitioned in 3 years, because there was a lot of things that had to happen that this person that was taking over this responsibility needed to understand. Because if I'm not doing this task, I have no idea what's on the other side of the task. I have no idea of all the ins and outs, all the intricate parts, all the moving parts to make this thing go. A prime example, I remember we were having a leadership meeting at the church. And in that leadership meeting, someone in the church was saying that this is, at one point in time, we had a van that we went to pick people up for church in. So at one point in time, we had a meeting with the youth department, and the youth department wanted to do something. So we supplied food. So when the students, when you bring your people to church, your children to church, they would have a meal while they're being serviced in children's church. And the van, they wanted to do something else with the van, and somebody else wanted to do something else with something. So my husband broke it down, and he said, you know what? You're responsible for your little piece of the pie. And me and my wife, we're responsible for the whole pie. Right? Because it's a whole big old pie. So if I'm dealing with the youth department, that's all I'm dealing with. I have no idea what transportation has to go through. I have no idea what the administration has to go to. I have no idea what the senior leaders are doing. I'm just focusing on my piece of the pie. And sometimes it ain't even a piece of a pie, it's a slither, right? So if you're focusing on your slither of the pie, understand there's a whole big old pie that somebody got to manage. So when you delegate responsibilities out, it helps you not to be responsible for the whole pie. And it also helps to compartmentalize what needs to be done. So marketing has to do their part, and operations has to do their part, and finances has to do their part. Everybody needs to have a part, and all of those parts need to be clearly defined. Good systems allow leaders to focus on vision, strategy, relationship, and growth instead of managing every detail. I'm going to repeat that again. Good systems, because you got to have good systems in place if you want to grow, right? So we're talking about scaling through systems. Good systems allow leaders to focus on vision, because as a leader, you're a visionary, or you should be. You should be a visionary. If strategies, you want to come up with various strategies or have your team come up with those strategies. Relationships. It's important for you as a leader to cultivate relationships with other leaders. The Bible calls that iron sharpening iron. Because if I'm not cultivating relationships with other leaders and I'm living my life, my ministry, my business, my nonprofit in a silo, I'm going to miss some very important things that are going out. So relationships are very important. And growth instead of managing every detail. You shouldn't have to manage every detail. So I wrote down some little points for each category. So one point for business, it says delegate administrative work, scheduling, follow-up, bookkeeping, marketing support, and routine customer services so leaders can concentrate on revenue, generating streams, and strategy. So we want to delegate all the things that we don't necessarily have to do, right? And ministry, develop ministry leaders who can facilitate meetings, coordinate events, follow up with people, teach, train, and oversee various responsibilities. If you think about it, no matter whether you're in business, ministry, or nonprofit, the key is developing people. So the prayer should be, Lord, send me some people that are teachable. Lord, send me some people who have a heart for the vision that you have given me. Lord, send me, and ask God to send you these things. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to create a document, and on this document write, only I can do. What's the first thing you're going to put? Put it in the chat, please. Only I can do. Only I can do it, right? And then the next column is going to be someone else can do. Somebody else can do, right? And then the last one, a system can do. So these are some things that only I can do. Only I can fill out this grant. Only I can oversee this finances. Only I can do this because I know the whole whatever. But then what can I pass along? What can I delegate? What can I give to somebody else that they can do? And give it to somebody else that they can do. And then you say, what can a system do? What can a system do? What can I give an automated system to do? That reminds me, I was on a call with one of my spiritual sons, and he has a product line. And in his product line, he was talking about he wanted to be able to have people to order the product and, you know, go through a whole chat bot before he has to look at it. The order would be placed. He would know what size product. He would know what smell of the fragrance of the body butter that they needed. All of this can be done via chat bot, and they can pay. And then the only time that he would have to step in is when he was filling the order. So all of that stuff can be done by a system. Somebody please put in the chat, a system can do. Nowadays, there's all kind of systems that you can put in place. You can put automated systems in for your CRMs. You can put systems in for reaching out to new, what are they called? New clients, to new donors, to new visitors that are visiting your church. So there's systems that you can put in place that a system can do. That means like a chat bot. You can go on and AI can do these things. You don't necessarily have to do them yourself. So the 3 categories that I want you to write down is, and I'm misplaced my paper, is only I can do. So you want to write down some things that only you can do. And then you want to write down something that you can delegate somebody else to do. And then you want to write down something that a system can do. And in the beginning, you might have to use the system with human beings, but eventually you can find out if there is a AI system, an automated system, a CRM system that can do those things for you so you don't have to be hands-on. So there's a lot of things out there that you can use to help you scale through systems. Point number 2. Point number 2 is remove dependency upon you as the only operator. I'm the only one can give instructions. I'm the only one that can do this. I'm the only one. Because when you do something like that, you're not developing your business, your ministry, or your nonprofit to scale. So the ultimate goal is to scale. So you want to be able to create a system that you're not the only operator. I don't want to be the only voice. I don't want to be the only opinion. If I've given you this task to do, I trust you to do it. So in the beginning, when we start working together, you probably had to ask me, okay, ask me how you want this. Ask me how you should do this. Ask me how you should do that. But there should come a time where I trust you to be able to do it. There should come a time. I have a new virtual assistant that I've been working with. I've been working with her for about 3 months now. So it's about 90 days. And in the beginning, when I first started working with my virtual assistant, she would have to ask me everything. And then as time was going on, I said, Addie, I need you to get a feel for how I flow, because I don't have time to keep going back, looking at WhatsApp and seeing all the questions that you have. I would rather you just do it, and then we got to go back and clean it up. Let's go back and clean it up, because I trust you. So one of the things I asked her, I'm like, are you a woman of God? She like, yeah, I'm a woman of God. She's from Africa, so she has this very heavy accent. I'm like, do you know how to tap into the Holy Spirit? She was like, yes, Ma. Do you know they call you Ma? Yes, Ma, I know how to tap into the Holy Spirit. So if you know how to tap into the Holy Spirit, I'm going to need you to tap in. I'm going to need you to be able, I'm going to trust you to do this so that we can grow as a team so we can get this job done. So moving from ask me everything. Should I dot this I? Then they go on and dot the I's. Then they come back. Should I cross this T? Then they go on and cross the T. And then should I do this? No. I'm going to need to trust you. I trust you. I trust you to make a decision. But the reality is, when you're delegating and you're moving these systems forward, will the people that you're working with make mistakes? That's a question on the floor. Will the people that you're working with make mistakes when you're delegating responsibility to others? Will they make a mistake? Or will everything that they do come out perfect? I need y'all to put it in the chat. It's not a trick question. Will they make a mistake? Or will everything come out perfect? Will they make a mistake? When I'm delegating, your responsibility as a leader is to develop people who can make decisions and carry out responsibility. So as I am a leader developing other leaders, I'm still looking for y'all to put it in the chat. The question is, will they make a mistake? Your responsibility as a leader is to develop people who can make decisions and carry out responsibility. Yes, Kim, they will make mistakes. And those mistakes are called learning opportunities. Those mistakes are called learning curves. I figure that all the mistakes that I've made in business. Hey, Apostle Angel, I'm so looking forward to Saturday. Hey, Monica, thank you for tuning in. Yes, they will make mistakes, but when they make mistakes, they're learning opportunities. So we want to take the time to point out the learning opportunities and give them an opportunity to grow. So would you do it exactly the way that I do it? No, I don't want you to be a carbon copy of me. I want you to come in your own flavor. I want you to come in your own flow. If everything stopped when you stop, the organization has developed a dependency instead of creating capacity. If everything stopped when you stop, that means the organization has developed a dependency. They're depending upon you. And you don't want that. You want to help build the capacity and you want to help build the leaders so that they can grow. An example, with my nonprofit organization, we had a president, her name was Melvina Saxton, who was my daughter's aunt, who passed away. We have MCS Fund, the Misha Chanel Saxton Foundation. And she was the president for about 2 years. And then when she stopped being the president, I had to step up in the role of the president and the founder. And I was in that role for president and the founder for a little while. And then I had asked, I call her Madam President, Kimberly Moore, would she like to step up and be the president? So when I first asked her to be the president, she was like, no, I don't want to be the president. I just feel like, I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm like, you have the skills, you have the capacity, you have the ability, and I'm right here to help you all the way along the way. So the first year I asked her, she said no. And then the next year, I didn't even ask her. She was like, Prophet T, I see that you're growing. I see that God is doing all these amazing things in your life. And I don't want the MCS Fund's responsibility to be a burden on you. She said, I am going to step up and be the president. So she was the vice president for maybe 2 or 3 years. Then she stepped up and became the president. So this is her first year as the president of the MCS Fund. And has she had some hiccups? Yes. But I've been there to help coach her along the way. And she's bringing creative ideas to the nonprofit organization. She's reaching people that I would not have reached because I don't have those relationships. We've done some very creative things. This year was the first year that we actually had a brunch for our fundraiser for June 19th. So they will make mistakes, and you as the leader have to come in and help them navigate. So leaders lead. And you want to develop other leaders so you won't have to do everything. Everything does not have to be your responsibility. Everything does not have to fall on you. Hey, Apostle Janice Roberts, love you muchy muchy. Y'all doing great things over there in Illyria. Peace and blessings to you. So point number 2. Oh man, y'all, I'm supposed to be stopping at 3 o'clock. Okay, let me get to point number 3. Point number 3. Where's my notes? Oh no. So point number 3 is strengthen the infrastructure before expansion. Point number 3, strengthen the infrastructure before expansion. So I want to make sure I went over everything I wanted to go over in this area. So point number 2 is remove dependency upon you as the only operator. So you don't want to be the only voice. You don't want to be the only one can do everything. Oh, I didn't talk about protecting the vision. So when you have a vision, the team members that you bring around you, especially those that are in leadership positions, they must, one, understand the vision, and they must be willing to protect the vision as people come on. I remember when I had a salon and spa. At one time, I had 23 employees. I was probably 32 years old. I had 23 employees. I had 23 people relying on me for their livelihood. So that was a tall order. But in the midst of that, what I kept finding is I would train my staff. We would do certain things. I would tell them how we want to operate from a spirit of excellence here at Mimi's Hair Having a Spa. And our response was always, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Way before Chick-fil-A was ever created to be talking about it's my pleasure. Because this was back in we started off back in 1999. But anyhow, so protecting the vision, when we would get a new employee in, the older employees would just fall back and get lackadaisy instead of bringing the new employees up to our standards, saying, no, this is not how we operate here at Mimi's Hair, Heaven, and Spa. At Mimi's Hair, Heaven, and Spa, we don't have our clients waiting. Hey, Monica, you remember, because you was one of our good clients. I remember you used to come. We used to do this thing called a slice of heaven. And I remember a slice of heaven is when you rent out the salon in the evening and you would have your own private party, and your private party would get facials and body massages and manicures. Monica, I remember you. That's how we met. I think you did the whole slice of heaven. Let me get to my last point. I got 5 minutes. So my last point is strengthen the infrastructure before expansion. Are you ready for more? That's the question. You want to strengthen the infrastructure. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Before you expand. So in doing that, don't expand faster than your infrastructure can support. So, you know, they say anything that swells is an infection. So you don't want to be an infection. You want to take the time to strengthen the infrastructure before you expand. More customers, more donors, more programs or revenues can expose weaknesses that were manageable when the organization were smaller. So as you grow, then it can expose weaknesses that your ministry, your nonprofit, your business has that you need to shore up. So when those weaknesses are being exposed, please shore up those weaknesses so you can move forward with excellence. Before you ask, how can we get bigger? Ask, are we strong enough to handle the bigger? Are we strong enough to handle the bigger? Because sometimes you want to grow. Who doesn't want to grow, right? But can I handle the growth? If I'm working with 10 clients, if the Lord was to send me 20 more, that's 30 clients. Could I handle the 30 clients? And if the answer is not yes, you need to shore up your infrastructure. So complete the growth checklist. I'm going to close out with this. I wrote these down. Before saying yes to expansion, ask yourself this. Do I have enough people that are capable to help me expand? Be honest with yourself. So it's the people, the processes, the money, the system, and the capacity. Do we have repeatable processes that will help us execute expansion? Do we have that? Do I have that in place? Do I have the money? Can I financially sustain expansion? Can I sustain it? Do I have enough money that's going to keep me afloat that I'm able to expand? Systems. Can our current systems, infrastructure support it? Do the current SOPs that we have, do the current infrastructure that we have, can it support us expanding? Because if it can't support us expanding, then I need to go back to the drawing board before I expand. And then the last one, capacity. Can we add this without damaging what already works? So you don't want to grow and you can't sustain what you already have. So you're trying to grow to more. Let's make sure this is shored up. If the answer is no, immediately assign strengthening, not scaling. Immediately. So if the answer is no, if I don't have the people, if I don't have the processes, if I don't have the money, if I don't have the systems, and I don't have the capacity, then I'm going to have to put a no on that. I'm going to have to set that to the side, and that's something that I'm going to have to do at a later date. Why? Because I got to shore up my systems. I got to shore it up. Then complete this session. Before we grow blank, we must strengthen blank. So before we grow blank, before we grow, we must strengthen what? I remember, Monica, I remember all the memories are flooding back from a slice of heaven. And it was a wonderful thing. It's amazing. A lot of times when I come to Cleveland, I'll run into somebody and they'll be like, Mimi, you know, they still call me Mimi, and say, I remember I came to your salon and spa and it was this, that, and the other. And I just thank God for that. That opportunity to serve the community in the way that Mimi's Hair, Heaven, and Spa was able to serve the community. So let me close out. This is what I have in closing. Build the structure for where you are, build the structure for where you are going, not for where you are today. So when you're building the infrastructure for your church, when you're putting these for your business, for your church, for your nonprofit, build it for where you're going. I know that in our nonprofit, we always say, we operate like we're a big business, right? I remember one time we had a fundraiser and the board members was winning the baskets. I said the optics of that doesn't look good. It's fair. Yes, it's fair. But you think about big corporations, when they give away stuff, they say the employees and their near family can't win, or their close families can't win. So even though we're small, we want to operate like we're big. I'm going to read this closing statement and then I am out of here. Vision tells you where it's time to expand, but stewardship asks you whether you have the people, the processes, the resources, and the capacity to sustain the increase. Don't just pray for more, prepare to manage more. I'm going to say that one more time. One more again. That's the hood coming out of me. One more time, one more again. Don't just pray for more. Prepare to manage more. My time is up, and I thank you guys for y'all. Be blessed, but most of all, be inspired. Have a great day. See you next Monday. My goal is to come on at 12:30 for Monday Marketplace Mantle. Love you muchy muchy. Bye-bye.